Welcome to Americans Learn. My name is Lauren, and today we are still in the midst of spooky season. So today this is a video I found on my own, basically because I did a Creepiest Towns video not too long ago, and I had a couple of gripes with the video itself. A few of the times I heartily disagreed with it. So today I'm looking at a Papa Meat video about the same thing, only this one's just called flat out The Creepiest Town in America. So I'm curious to see what he has to say, what the creepiest town in America is. Full stop. Because, I mean, I've been to some places that were just bad vibes, you know? But I haven't been to any of the places that were like in the video that was mentioned before. And again, some of them didn't really seem that creepy to me. But I'm curious to see what Papa Meat would have to say, because I feel like I've agreed with him on a lot of other stuff that he's done before. I've enjoyed his stuff, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he has for me this time. And so, without further ado, let's go.
Welcome back to the Papa Meat channel. How you doing? Come on in and sit on down. Now today, I have something pretty interesting to talk about. When you think of Florida, what's the first thing you think of?
Alligators.
Old people, retirees. You probably think of Miami, beautiful women, unbelievable street food. You probably think of Disney World, alligators and swamps, humidity, and you know, all those crazy Florida residents. But I'm sure one thing that maybe slips your mind is the creepiest town in all of the United States of America.
And that, Florida,
of course, is Clearwater, Florida. We were gonna do a big video about a bunch of different creepy towns, but this specific town was so interesting and so oddly disturbing that we were just like, F it, we're just doing the whole thing about Clearwater. Clearwater is very, very interesting. If I could do a sales pitch to you, it's A Cult Buys a Town. That sounds like a movie or a video game, but it's very much real.
I mean, it sounds like a parody movie or video game, mayhaps, but okay. This one wasn't on the other list.
Life. And it's something that is so fascinating because it is still ongoing today.
I was just thinking, because like the other video is, a lot of it was just, oh, this town is small and in the middle of nowhere. It's creepy. And I'm like, that's so freaking elitist. Because like so many of those towns that were on that list were just small towns. Okay, sure. But like, if there's actually something creepy, like, that's why I was like, I came up with a couple of towns that I think should have been on that list, like the Kitty County, because like with the creepy murders and like, that's a small town in the middle of nowhere, but actually unsolved axe murderer or whatever. So that automatically makes things creepy. You know? I don't know. Anyway, let's find out what Clearwater's all about.
No real happy ending to this story, but it's a story nonetheless. So to really get into Clearwater, we're gonna have to understand Scientology. If you've been alive while the internet has been a big thing, it's impossible to avoid Scientology.
Automatically
you might know a little here and there, but it's a very fascinating subject, and I think to really get into Clearwater, we should do a little brief overview of what Scientology exactly is. And also, if I have any Scientologist fans out there, you know, sorry. So sorry, you're in a cult. It's a cult. Like, even more than a lot of other organized religions are fully cult, Scientology is a cult. And like I said, I've watched a lot of videos on my own about Scientology in like various ways, and it's fascinating and kind of terrifying, and I feel very, very bad for the people who get like subsumed into it. Quickly explaining Scientology, it's a modern religion made by the science fiction writer L. Ron Hubbard. He conceived of this religion in the 1950s. The religion follows his teachings, which are laid out in his top-selling books, Dianetics, The Modern Science of Mental Health. He's a science fiction writer, but also a lot of what Dianetics is it's just like a compilation of self-help books, kind of cherry-picking all kinds of things from different areas of self-help, you know, therapy and all kinds of stuff like that, and he kind of just put it into one big book, and then he threw a giant alien on it and volcanoes. Like, if you look at the book of Dianetics, it doesn't really correlate with what's inside. And a lot of people who started following the religion in like the 60s, well, they loved it. I mean, it's self-help practices that are actually practical, that actually help people. It's just when you get you're in a cult and the leader goes kind of crazy and, you know, he's running away from people in the ocean. We're gonna get to that soon.
Where did his wife Let's go.
I think all things start with goodwill, except for L. Ron. I think he was just out for a quick payday. Essentially, they're a cult that brainwashes people to isolate themselves from their families and tries to use celebrity endorsements to encourage people to join them. Which, with any cult that you're in, the biggest thing with cult is that you separate entirely and then you almost depend on this new group of people to function and actually live. But the interesting thing about Scientology is that they have the celebrity endorsement aspect. The top one, of course, being Tom Cruise. That's pretty crazy, the Tom Cruise. And I mean, he is all in. There's no, they pay him. No, this motherfucker is all in. So to have a cult that has such a prominent status in LA and people are so celebrity obsessed, it's pretty easy to understand how people could get sucked into this. There's also Danny Matheson from that 70s show.
Yep.
He's a good guy, right? Or Leah Remini. She was Kevin James's wife on...
She got out, though.
And now her entire life is basically trying to expose Scientology.
Yeah.
And I will
say,
too, just because we're listing off celebrities and stuff, if you are interested in Scientology and kind of understanding the weird ins and outs of it, there's a great Louis Theroux documentary that's very, very good.
And if you want to learn about like a lot of other of like the backgrounds of like Danny Masterson and like all of that, the YouTube channel Coffee and Cults has done a lot of videos about Scientology, about that 70s show, about like how insidious Scientology has kind of become and how it grows up. Like she really kind of goes in depth about like how people get involved in the first place. She's got a ton of videos about it. So it's Coffee and Cults here on YouTube, and I found her stuff very, very interesting. She worked in Hollywood with a lot of these people for a long time, so she like actually has some firsthand experience about it, and she's done a lot of research. She's talked to a lot of people. I do recommend her videos. They're long. They will never show up here on this channel, but they are very interesting.
I love Louis Theroux. Shout out Louis Theroux. The church claims that there are millions of active church members, but estimates seem to think that there are less than 40,000 Scientologists worldwide. The church's influence comes from the estimated $3 billion in cash and assets it has collected from its followers. And Clearwater is the epicenter of that revenue
it's really
stream.
Expensive.
So,
like,
how did Clearwater come to be?
Paying.
Well, let's take a look, shall we?
Because like that's what I kind of remember with Scientology is like they make you pay constantly. Like you constantly have to buy in. Like you have to buy the material for the next level. Like you have to pay for retreats. You have to pay for like training. Like there's so many things that they make you keep just buying. It's very pay to play. Is Scientology.
Scientology's start in Clearwater once again begins with L. Ron Hubbard. At the time, L. Ron Hubbard was overseeing religion from aboard a ship to avoid investigations into tax evasion and fraud when he selected Clearwater as the spiritual headquarters. So at the time, L. Ron Hubbard, he's literally living on the ocean. That's why they have a literal sect in their religion called the Sea Org. That's because of that. He was like, okay, we should get on a boat and go.
I'm doing illegal shit.
Yeah, that sounds cool. And he even gave himself a captain's outfit, like a general's outfit.
Isn't
unbelievable.
That, like, illegal?
I think it was towards the latter half of his life when he's a little cuckoo.
Isn't that like illegal? Isn't that like stolen valor or something? You're not supposed to dress up like you're in the military if you're not. Like that's why like in movies and stuff, the military kind of comes in if the costume is too accurate. Like because you're not supposed to dress up like you're military if you're not.
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, all right? Even all the power and stuff like that, I think that maybe some drug use was happening. I don't know. Which, it met his criteria. It was a warm climate, it was near an international airport, and it had a hotel that could be repurposed into the Church of Scientology's main base of operations.
Which,
look
that
at that.
building.
Really, honestly, it is a beautiful hotel. I would go. Well, the church comes in, they're just like, this town's kind of a little gross, all right? It's a little party town. We're gonna clean it up. We gotta introduce morals back into this party town. We need to bring morals back into town. Isn't that right, L. Ron Hubbard? Yes, that's correct. They deemed it the Project Normandy. The Church of Scientology devised a plan to take control over the city of Clearwater,
I feel like that's
which is
more
kind of a
stolen
f***ed
valor.
up name to call that. Project Normandy. I'm pretty sure the Battle of Normandy Beach, Normandy Beach, and World War II is where people just got basically massacred. Which the first step was to purchase the Fort Harrison Hotel and establish it as their headquarters, which they dubbed as their Flag Land Base. The next step was to fully investigate the Clearwater City and county area so that they could distinguish their friends from their enemies and handle as needed. The church had the members infiltrate local newspapers, community agencies, and law firms in order to spy on their enemies, which is really, really weird.
A church? Okay, look, if you're spying for your church, you're not on the good side of anything.
and creepy. And that's one thing you'll find with a lot of Scientologists is those motherfuckers snoop and they dig because their entire formula for success is fear-based blackmail. The idea that they just come in and they immediately start snooping, terrible new guest. One of their targets was the mayor of Clearwater, Gabe Cazares. He began to grow suspicious of the church's intent as they continued to buy up more real estate through their shell companies. Soon, Cazares became the church's biggest critic and called the group a terrorist group. Pretty funny. You're not in good standing whenever the literal mayor of the town is just like, does anyone else see those group of monsters hanging out over there? And they're just like, what?
Okay,
What are we doing, Gabe? In an attempt to smear Gabe Cazares.
Interesting that he's like, because like I saw the little pamphlet going down the how to brainwash anybody, and it's like, you know what? I usually think of terrorist groups as, you know, people with guns and power who are, you know, going from, you know, door to door or house to house or hotel to hotel and just grabbing people out of the street, out of the rooms and just dragging them onto the streets for absolutely no reason. Like, you know, killing people in the square, like that kind of thing is a terrorist group. But you know what? It's kind of more insidious when it's like, if you think about it, like a church who's just like brainwashing people. That is kind of terrifying. And it does ruin lives. It has ruined many, 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 many lives. Huh.
As the Scientologists tried staging a hit-and-run accident dubbed Speedy Gonzales. What? That is so racist.
Just a little.
Did they have a manila envelope that said Speedy
Just a
Gonzales
little?
on it? And falsely
my
made
God.
allegations that the mayor had a second wife in Mexico, similarly dubbed Mayor Cazares Handling Project. There was also Project Taco Less, which again was another operation to ruin his career. Just racist campaign against this mayor. What's so weird is that it feels so juvenile.
It does.
Speedy Gonzales. How about we name this one Project Taco Less? With every documentary I've ever seen or anything, Scientologists like to
I've never
record
heard about
people.
that stuff.
Like if they see that you're recording something, they'll come out and they'll record people, and they're very childlike. If you're just like, why are you recording me? They'll be like, why are you recording me? And they'll like do the back and forth game or the mimic game, and you're just like, okay. It's
Also,
funny
they don't
that
like
it
it when you
carries through
record them,
even into all the way down
like,
to
first.
the 70s. I wonder if there's something where they're just like, all right, well, if you do get infiltrated, we're going to act like babies. We're going to act like juvenile 8-year-olds. Rebecca, write that down. First level, always be racist. Goes up to a person, boop, boops them on the nose. All right, now go off, Tiger. Both of these smear campaigns were unsuccessful, and Cazares and his wife sued the church for $1.5 million. Boom. Love that. In 1986, the church ended up settling. Unfortunate. Today's video is sponsored by Factor. Are you looking to eat healthier, but you just simply don't
No, we don't
have
need
the
to do Factor.
back to the video.
We don't need to do a
take over the
Factor
city
ad.
were uncovered when the FBI raided the Scientology headquarters in Los Angeles and Washington. Documents showed that the United Churches of Florida was created as a front to protect church assets from seizure by the government. There was also Operation Freakout, which was a plan to get Paulette Cooper, a critic of the church, committed to a mental institution. There were also additional documents stating that Scientology had plans for complete world control.
Okay,
Imagine
terrorist
being an
group. Sure, I
FBI
get it.
agent, just United Churches of Florida. It's just them documenting everything that they're illegal they're doing in this front to protect all their assets, which is just a vault full of gold. They also claim they own a dragon. That can't possibly be true.
They claim they own a dragon? I mean, maybe a Komodo dragon. Maybe they've got one of those running around somewhere. But like, oh my God. Wow. I mean, they are becoming more like, but that's I feel like part of the more insidious part of it though, is that like, they have all of these like comic booky sort of plans that everyone knows about, but it's the stuff that's happening under the surface that we don't know about. That's what's hurting people.
For the raids, 11 church leaders were charged with conspiring to steal government documents, theft of government documents, and conspiring to obstruct justice. And even though plans to take over
Wasn't the
Clearwater were
Russian
halted,
cops
this
in
did
that
not
one?
stop the church from continuing to buy as much property as they could. Over the next 4 decades after settling there, the church had amassed 58 properties in Clearwater under its name. 49 of them were downtown, and 73% of the property is tax exempt for religious purposes.
Oh my
And in the
God.
1990s, Scientology magazine,
I still
one of the
don't like that
church's
rule.
listed goals for 2000 2000 was to, quote, make Clearwater known as the first Scientology city in the world. Bro is trying to become the Holy Roman Empire. But that's just the thing, is that their pockets are so deep, they're able to go in like McDonald's and buy up all these real estate options to where they probably control almost all of the downtown property, or at least a large portion of it. 49's a lot in any given city. Might not be New York levels, but we're talking about Clearwater, Florida here. All right, just want to put that out there. Which Clearwater campus is home to Flag, or flagship campus for Scientology. They put a lot of emphasis on it. It's like it's one of their bases, if not the base for all of their operations. And a lot of the things that they did in Clearwater too was they would train a lot of operatives there. People would move there, and they would usually work for free, and you would just sleep on a cot and eat beans. That's what it was like, and you're just like, we're like, la 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 la. I'm so happy, and it hurts to put my hands in the ocean, but that's okay. Scientologists all around the world travel there, and it's designed to host established followers. Many important training courses take place here, so it makes sense why they are trying to isolate and take over the city. They want people to come on in who are already established. They don't have to worry about all the bullshit of doing the thetan level things. You have to hold it, and people are just like, what the fuck is this? This is stupid. And they're like, no, it's really cool, actually. I'm gonna leave. Please stay. No, I'm seriously gonna go. And they're like, there goes another one. They want to have people who are already brainwashed, essentially.
Right.
But when they go there, they're trying to have people flock to the city to make it look more legitimate, and to once again, seriously, like emulate this idea that this is like a big religious holy land kind of thing, and get as much free labor as they possibly can. One of the main courses here is chief training for Class 5 org staff, which is the highest level of staff. If you're Class 5, that's when you're learning about Xenu. You know, you paid your dues. Because also another thing about Scientology is to level up, you have to pay. You have to put money into
that's
it.
What
it isn't just about doing good work. I'm a good guy.
See, that's what I said earlier. That's how they get that $3 billion, because like they make you pay at every possible step of the way.
Cool. Write us a check. It's the pyramid schemes of all pyramid schemes is kind of what it is. They're auditing for OT7, Truth Revealed. These are the ultimate secrets of Hubbard's teaching, which is about doomsday prophecies where Hubbard will come back from the dead in a messiah-like role to halt the enslavement of his followers. So they're apparently going to get enslaved somehow, but he's going to come back. You want him to come back? This is the guy? Can he come back looking cooler? You know? The campus collects millions of dollars each week through fundraising and payments for expensive courses and high-level religious counseling not offered anywhere else. It is said that visitors are expected to stay in Scientology's hotels and eat at private church restaurants. If you're spending money at Clearwater, you're spending money at a Scientology thing.
Good to know.
They will milk you dry. The upper levels of the Sea Org are also trained there, which the Sea Org is also trained in Clearwater. And to explain what Sea Org is exactly, it's a division of the Church of Scientology. They're paramilitary organizations, which they don't really have any. It's like dress up. It's very, you know. Like it's pretend. Before establishing themselves in Clearwater, the Sea Org existed on a fleet of sea vessels because of the tax evasion. Their members signed billion-year contracts and work non-stop, and usually for free. And according to Scientology beliefs, members are expected to return to the Sea Org when they are reborn. That's a drag. Their motto is Revenomous, which of course translates to "We come back." That's creepy. That
Terrifying.
is so creepy. Revenomous! Defectors have claimed that they were paid less than $50 a week for their services. And the Sea Org members are also victims of human trafficking, which is a lot of fun. They're often brought from other countries, tempted to join by offering a legitimate way of entering the United States.
That
You want to live in America?
too.
It's nice here. Ooh, you landed in Clearwater? Yikes. So after the 70s, they had to die down because the FBI came in and they found all their crayon drawings and all their applesauce cups and their spit bibs and stuff and their hard hats. And this was the next time that they really pushed on Clearwater, which Scientology's footprint expanded in the area, and so did Clearwater's beaches' popularity for tourists. Business downtown struggled to stay open, and city leaders spent millions of dollars improving the area, and in 2016, city consultants began planning a $64 million effort to reinvigorate the downtown waterfront. Then something happened. In the first 2 months of 2017, a handful of companies bought 6 commercial properties downtown for $26 million.
Wow.
It seems that the church had their own revitalization plan. And after a bid over an aquarium didn't go in their favor, the church had an explosion of purchases and non-church business owners were forced out. And let me tell you, with locals, It was war. The church
Yeah,
doubled its
fucking
footprint
bet.
in less than 3 years. Business owners were offered cash with values 2 to 4 times the property's value. Most of these businesses didn't have buildings for sale, but they had to accept. The offer was strong, but also businesses for most of these places was bad since Clearwater had become a ghost town for tourists, and the locals knew not to come there. Years and years of the Sea Org being there, a lot of these weird Scientology people walking around scared all of the locals off and many of the tourists. Altogether, 32 companies bought 92 downtown properties since 2017, totaling in a cost of $103 million, and $99 million of that was paid in cash.
Oh
Most
my
of the
God,
buildings
that just
purchased
sounds
have been
sketchy.
left sitting empty and unused. Some of the shop fronts are just for show, and it evokes the feeling of fake town similar to North Korea and China, trying to evoke the same thing as like thinking that it's a prosperous town, trying to think that like, oh, business is going on here, but it looks like a set at Disney World. It has left Clearwater as mostly a ghost town. You might look into a store and it's just the uncanny effect that there's nothing behind there. It's almost like this is a stage play. Uniformed employees.
That is okay. I was wondering, like, I mean, cults in general are creepy, and Scientology is very unnerving just in how it operates. But like, I was waiting for like the creepy factor, and like we've hit it. And I feel like it's creepier when it's a bigger town that when it's almost empty. Because like you got a small town that's like falling on hard times or whatever. Like it makes sense that there's a lot of empty buildings, and it's not quite it's more tragic than terrifying. But you got a big town, a big like that makes it creepier when it's empty.
Employees of Scientology's Sea Org walk the streets at all times of day and night. The Sea Org agents will follow and photograph anyone that is caught walking through the area. If you were even just in town, God forbid you didn't know anything about it and you were just walking through, how creepy is it that a uniformed person with a camera would just follow you? And not only one person, but probably multiple people would follow you with cameras, record you. They probably don't respond to you asking what's going on, and you are forced to leave, and you probably just feel like you're in danger the entire time that you're down there.
That is terrifying.
This is a snapshot taken from Google Maps. It's of a skywalk between two of the churches of Scientology, and it is reported that these skywalks were built to keep members of Sea Org from interacting with the public. So not only that, but even while they were probably buying up property, they were making these sky bridges. You could be walking there and then you just see people up in the windows and you'll never see them again. There's just so much more mystery behind the eyes of a stranger when you know that they're in a cult. We did find this case on Lisa McPherson, which is interesting. It's a woman from the 90s. This is just something horrific that was seen by the public in the town of Clearwater while things are going on, and this is what happened during that time. So in 1995, Lisa McPherson, a member of the church who was having a mental health crisis, was stripped naked in public, begging for help. She was eventually taken into custody by members of the church who forcibly removed her from state care. She was subjected to 17 days of auditing to cure her mental condition, and she later had died from a blood clot caused by severe dehydration. The church faced 2 felony charges, but they were later dropped after the medical examiner ruled the death as an accident. The Lisa McPherson thing is horrible.
But like negligent though, like if they were dehydrating her, because the audits, I've heard about the audits, and like, I don't know. They should not have been able to get out of that one. I don't think they caused that death.
Horrible. But it's not surprising, unfortunately, because the Scientology has a thing they call as quote-unquote fair game policy that allows for aggressive tactics against perceived enemies of the church. This has included stalking, harassment, and legal battles against former members and critics. They have all the deep pockets in the world. They have all of these empty-brained people walking around with cameras that are going to record you in public, and God forbid any of these people think that you're that much of a threat. You're going to get struck down in the street. And who would even see it? No one! Because it's a ghost town. It's a town run completely by these crazy people. Which, and this is just a fun little thing. Let's go back to Tom Cruise real quick. Tom Cruise owns a penthouse 2 blocks from the main church. A man posted a video of himself touring the penthouse while under construction, and the Church of Scientology demanded that he take it down. He was then stalked and followed by members of the church. Eventually, he found cameras planted in front of his house, and he decided to sell the property because of these events. Do you blame him? What's insane to think is that Clearwater, this is something that's still going on, and something that is in the United States. When you hear stuff from overseas, like North Korea, and you hear stuff that's like they have a fake town that makes it look like their country is prospering and people are really happy, you think that could never happen here on your home turf or in a place like America. Maybe Florida. You could maybe expect it in Florida, of all places. It is insane to think that this is something that just is ongoing and exists, and that there are currently people who are brainwashed, living and giving all of their valuable human years to this organization that is just pumping them dry. There's really nothing more horrifying than something that is just so blatantly real and in your face. To have the monster monsters of the town be people who were once humans who are now just these soulless people walking around harassing and recording people and serving some kind of crazy mission that they believe to be true. It's frightening. I would love to go. I'd love to go and surf. I think, in my opinion, that this is the creepiest town in America. I'd be very curious if you guys have any other creepy towns that we can cover. Do you think this is the creepiest town or not?
Pretty creepy.
I don't know. Tell us other creepy towns. I'd love to figure out some stuff. Until next time, thank you so much for watching this video. And hey, don't join a cult. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, really don't do that. He's very correct. Don't join a cult. That's bad for your health, both mental and physical. You know? But again, that's what's so insidious about stuff like this. It's like you don't realize most people don't realize they're joining a cult when they join a cult. Like that is not their thought. Like that's not like, oh, I'm going to join a cult today. That's not ever somebody's thought process. Ugh, God. Ooh, okay, but you know what? I can see why he's like, it's creepy. It's like, yes, because just by virtue of it being what it is, it's creepy. And then of course, like the ghost town aspect of it, but when it's a bigger city, that's scarier, I think, than when it's a small town. Small towns, you know, I don't find them particularly creepy most of the time. They're just a small town. And sometimes, you know, they had like a mine or something was the main source of revenue for it, and then the mine dried up, so people left. Like that's not creepy, it's sad. You know, there's a difference. But anyway. Yeah, this one I feel like is creepier than the other video. There was a few of the stories in the other video that was like, oh, okay, yeah, actually that is pretty creepy. But I'd be curious to find out if he actually did a video about the other creepy towns. I'd be interested to watch that. He did do a video on the most haunted places in America. So if you want me to watch that, you have to like the video and tell me in the comments. You have to tell me in the comments if you want me to watch that one. Because if you don't do that, then I'm probably going to do it on my own. So you just got to let me know. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.